Today's question comes from Beth in North Carolina. My 18-year-old has $40,000 in stocks that was given to him by a family member. To pay for college, should he pull money from them to pay for each semester or pull money from them and pay each year in full? Is one option better than another, or does it not matter? If he pulls from them, how does he figure out how much he'll pay in taxes each year he cashes out stocks? It's an interesting question. I'll let you speak to the tax part, but I'll quickly cover the financial aid part. One of the biggest questions I would have is he financial aid eligible? Because this money could definitely impact that. A lot of people don't realize how assets can impact the EFC equation, which is your expected family contribution. So if you are a student, your assets are factored in at 20% whenever they're calculating your financial aid. And if that's income, it's factored at 50%. So by pulling that money in, if he's still applying for the FAFSA, it could be counted as income in a future financial need equation. Therefore, it could reduce his eligibility for future financial aid. So that's a factor that a lot of people don't consider when they're looking at these assets.
So what would be his best strategy in that case?
Well, he may not want to spend it at all until the end of college. If he can find another way to go to school debt-free, he may want to just leave that money invested. If he can get scholarships, if he can pay for it, because right now it's a student asset. So student assets are factored at 20%.
So that's $8,000.
Versus at the income, if he pulls it out as income, it's factored in at 50%.
Yeah, but if he pulls out, if there's $40,000, he pulls out $10,000, it's $5,000, not $8,000.
But the thing is it just depends on what his ultimate EFC is. If he's a high need student, that could knock him out of the running for different.
$5,000 could.
If it increases its EFC significantly. So, and it's just that money could be, if he can get a scholarship instead. I mean, it could be better to leave that money saved, because if he's got a zero EFC,
if he can work and get scholarships and not touch it, that's going to be the best for the equation.
Yes, especially for future financial aid.
But $8,000 is still count against him just because he's got it on the books. 20% of 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's still gonna count. So it's just important to look at how your income and assets are going to affect you, especially as a student. So if it's a parental asset, it's only factored in at 5.64%. So parental assets have a lot less of a ding on the financial aid equation.
Where the crap do they get 5.64?
I know.
This is bureaucrats, right? They just 5.64 is the exact number of actual. Oh my God!
But it's a conversation to have. It's a conversation
to have. But at the end of the day, in no case are we saying use debt to keep from messing with this. You use this money to avoid debt at the end of the day if you have to, even if it messes up something else. But go get scholarships, work, leave the money alone is the best for the formula.
Right.
But if you if the formula is, if you don't have access to anything, use the money, pay cash for college as you go. Now, go ahead.
It's also important that this family member, they put it in the student's name. Perhaps they could have put it in the parent's 529. Therefore, it would have been a parental asset. But if they put it in a brokerage account in stocks in the student's name, then that's just a different factor. So if you're a family member wanting to give a student money for college, talk to the parent, because you could put it in the parent's 529. And then that'll affect the FAFSA differently.
Yeah.
So just be strategic about that, because I've talked to countless families who didn't really know how that factored in.
Unless you're just going to give them enough to pay for college and that's it.
Right. That's fantastic.
If you're just going to pay for college. If $40,000 pays for the whole school, then that's different, but it won't.
Yeah. So
in most cases anyway.
Yeah, I wrote about it in my second book, How to Graduate Debt Free, just how parents and students can look at their income and assets to make sure they're doing it the most strategic way, an informed way, so that they don't accidentally ding themselves on the FAFSA just not knowing.
Yeah. Now, your answer to your tax question is this. Your basis for tax calculation is, in other words, the equivalent of what you paid for it. It would be your basis normally. But with a gift, your basis is the value of the stock at the time he received it. So it's worth $40,000 today. Let's say that it was worth $30,000 when he received it, and it's gone up to 40. He only pays tax on the gain over what it was worth when he got it. That's all, okay? And so he needs to figure out what the value was at the time he received the gift of the portfolio. And there's probably sitting with a broker. The broker will probably do that one phone call, one email. All right. And so whoever the financial advisor that's helping you with this is can probably do that. And then he's going to pay taxes at the capital gains rate of 15% over what he paid or what it was worth at the time he received it. And so in my example, If he cashed out the whole stinking thing and it was worth 30 when he got it, it's worth 40 now. He has a $10,000 taxable event at 15%. The taxes are $1,500, and so it's not bad. So your basis in a gift is the value at the time. No, wait a minute. That's on estates. I just did that wrong. All the CPAs out there are throwing rotten tomatoes at the radio right now. I screwed that up. No, the basis is what the guy that gave it to him paid for it. It's worse.
Well,
The family member, what they paid for it, is the basis on a gift. It's not. He did not inherit it. It's not an estate. It stepped up basis in an inheritance, but in this case, you guys can all send me hate mail on Twitter and everything else you do anyway. But yeah, I screwed that up. I almost screwed it up. I fixed it mid-sentence.
yeah, I was gonna say you got it. You got
I
it.
caught it halfway through as I stumbled across the line and fumbled the ball and missed the Super Bowl. But anyway, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So yeah,
also-
that's it. You have to find out what the family member paid for this set of stocks that he gave to your 18-year-old, and that's probably a lot less. Now,
Well-
you got a lot of taxes here.
Yeah, and to quickly go back to the income, so if they took out that $40,000 in one single calendar year and it's factored in at 50% of their income, then that reduces their aid eligibility in future years by 50%. So that's $20,000.
All the future years as well, not just
no,
that
just
year.
the next year.
The next year, the following year. Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually a $20,000
Yeah.
ding.
So, one thing they could have done would have been to cash it out when he was a senior in high school and put it into an ESA.
Or junior year, because now it's prior
Yeah,
year.
yeah. If you can go all the way to junior, that'd be even better. But
Sophomore.
yeah, if it was that long ago, and that way it doesn't affect your formula, and it gets it out of single stocks and put it in something else
Right.
where it's not as volatile. Because I don't know what this portfolio looks like. So there's a lot going on here. The bottom line is we're not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Haha, this is a gift. And so there's lots of good things about getting $40,000 that I can count that are beat any kind of equations for financial aid or beat a little bit of capital gains taxes. So it's a wonderful, wonderful gift.
Well, just have those conversations, because it could be a simple conversation sophomore year could save you, $4,000, $8,000 in the long run, and that's worth it just simply by having that knowledge in
And if you
advance.
moved it into a 529 in a mutual fund, it going up in value, it'd have no taxes from that point forward. So that you would limit the taxes, and you would have limited the damage to the thing if you'd have moved it ahead of time. So there we go. Now we got a good strategy. Catch it at the sophomore year and move it then.